Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jess from BehatiLife. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is this week's astrological forecast for the week of December the 4th. So this week we have a lot of exciting developments that we need to talk about. The first being the fact that Mercury is now currently retrograde. If you follow me on Instagram and if you have become accustomed to my voice, you will know by now that I don't look at Mercury retrograde as a bad thing, even though it does tend to bring up annoying situations into our lives. You've heard me say this time and time again, that if you work with the energy and the flow of the planets, then you will flow with them. If you fight them, you will lose. You will have frustration. You will have trouble. You will have resistance, opposition, and that's with anything. If you work with the environment and if you set intent and you remain control over yourself, then you have so much more control over the things that are going on around you. And you will find that you are effortlessly moved into the right direction versus if you're like swimming against the current and trying to fight and force your way to the top or wherever it is that your destination, wherever it is that your desired destination is. The crazy thing is that if you, in any area of your life, if you learn to pick your feet up and go with the current in some ways, you will find that if you simply allow yourself to be taken there, you will be effortlessly directed into the direction that it is that you've been wanting to go. It may not make sense to you initially, but you have to trust the universe, you have to trust the higher power, God, the divine, to allow you to redirect you in the place that you need to be. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be way better than what you even thought that it could be. Sometimes our human mind limits us to think that, okay, this is what it is. This is as good as it can get. But in reality, our human mind is so limited to just our own perception of how good it can get. And the universe is abundant, and God is abundant and generous and giving, and there's a lot out there for you. But that's neither here nor there. That's a topic for another video. Let's go ahead and talk about Mercury retrograde. And the rest of this week's astrological important details and events. So Mercury went retrograde on the 3rd. So this has been kicking up some dust. We've been feeling it a day before, we're feeling it the day of, and we're going to be feeling it for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Mercury rules communication and how we think, how we express ourselves. It rules electronics, working pieces and tools, cars, automobiles. So when Mercury goes retrograde, the energy of the planet switches its rotation and reverses. And basically what happens there is anything that could go wrong, or not anything that could go wrong, but anything that isn't working or isn't strong will begin to break down. So let's say, for example, my boyfriend and I were driving in the car and his satellite radio stopped working, and out of nowhere, the day of Mercury retrograde, and he's like, wow, why isn't it working? And I'm like, Mercury retrograde, like, of course. So basically what Mercury retrograde is doing is it's presenting a problem that needs to be fixed, whoever rules and runs and fixes satellite radio. So they're like, okay, this wire is firing off, or this aspect of our radio station or whatever the case may be isn't working. Let's go in and tweak it so that now that this piece that was broken can now be stronger, and now we can be a better functioning product, a better functioning service that we are providing to people, that people are either paying for or getting for free because it comes with their car, whatever the case may be. So that's what Mercury retrograde is designed to do, is to show where there are weak points within a relationship, within an item, within just in our lives. So Mercury retrograde is known to bring topics up, conversations, arguments, miscommunication, misunderstanding. Basically what this is designed to do is to help us to strengthen our understanding of others. What is it that you're really saying? What is it that you're trying to tell me? Let me work to develop that. And if I take the time out and if I'm patient, then we will have a better understanding of each other and it'll strengthen our bond. But if I don't, and if I get, frustrated and I have no patience, then the relationship starts to unravel. But was that relationship strong to begin with? Or was I ready to be, compromising within this relationship? And it's not just romantic relationships, it's friendships, it's all business partnerships, all of them. any type of relationship that happens between a human being and a human being, it's, you know, those dynamics are highlighted when Mercury goes retrograde. Also, Mercury retrograde can bring back conversations of the past, opportunities of the past. This is not the best time to start something brand new, because again, the planet itself is so, it wants you to focus on past and passing and present. It doesn't want you to focus so much on the future. It says, take these steps first before you take these steps forward. So if you have a job opportunity or something, an idea that you're working on in the past that you had to, you know, sweep aside for a moment because there was all these other things going on in your life, which chances are you had all these other things going on in your life these last few months because everything was crazy in the cosmos. Now Mercury retrograde says, hey, remember this eyeshadow that you loved like 6 weeks ago that you picked up on a spontaneous shopping trip? Well, here it is now. We found it. You know, do you want to use it? Try it out. See if you like it. So it brings back these past opportunities. Hey, see this job opportunity that you sent out? Or this resume that you sent out? Well, now, you know what, we're going to talk, you know, the person who was hiring, it didn't work out with the person that they originally hired. They came across your resume and now they're calling you now. That would be a good opportunity to revisit and to reconsider if taking that job or using this eyeshadow is going to be the right move for you. But basically what Mercury retrograde does is presents you with the opportunity to reconsider the steps that you've already planned to take. And if you decide that, you know, the option or the path that you decide to walk down, if you want to deviate from it or if you want to switch it up, or if there's certain things that you're going to need in order to move ahead that are going to help you, it's going to present those opportunities to your face now so that while you move forward in the future, you'll be prepared. And you will have a better rate of success. So Mercury retrograde is, I think, the biggest blessing. I'm a Virgo sun, I'm a Virgo moon, Virgo Mars, and Virgo something else too, Virgo Venus. And Virgo is ruled by the energy of Mercury. Mercury rules, you know, so much of my chart. So I should be the one to be like, you know, oh my God, Mercury's retrograde. Like my personal planet is in retrograde motion. I should be you know, having struggles and troubles every left and right, you know, turn every moment. But I actually look at this and I'm like, fucking yeah, like this is a chance for me to go back and to plan things and to check anything that I need to go back and check for the next 2 to 3 weeks so that I can be focused and prepped and primed and on the top of my game. And I tell you, I like to stay on the top of my game. I like to stay on the top of my game, my relationships, my businesses, my personal transformation, cleaning my apartment. So I welcome the energy of Mercury retrograde because it allows me to take that step back so that I can prepare, especially as we're moving into 2017. It is December now, 2016, and this has been the craziest year of my life with some really high highs and some really interesting developments that I didn't even see coming. But I predicted a little bit with astrology, knowing, you know, these certain things were going to be tested, and, you know, I dealt with it. So what I want to do is I want to finish off 2016 as strong as I can. That way, as I move into January 2018, I'm going to be, you know, organized, ready, focused, refreshed, renewed, and start fresh. The other thing is we had the Gemini full moon over the weekend, and this happened on the 3rd. The Gemini full moon was just largely packed with so much energy, you guys. You know, I was saying how you know, this was going to focus on your thoughts. It's going to focus on your words, your power of visualization. Conversations could come up. Situations could come up. For me, this energy happened in my 12th house, highlighting fears, anxieties, things that kind of keep us restrained. It blooms those things into our world. It blooms things into our perspective. And I could talk to you about that a little later on in a separate video if you would like me to, but my plan was to make it in a Instagram post or a blog post. But really what it does, this full moon was working to do was to highlight these areas that your mind focuses on, or the constraints that you don't even realize hold you back. How your words, how your thoughts affect your environment, what it is that you're saying, what it is that you're thinking, your ways of expressing yourself, your ways of learning and growing. All of those areas are highlighted. You definitely want to check to see where Gemini rules within your personal chart in order to see how this was going to, you know, be highlighted for you. But this full moon wasn't the easiest to deal with, but it was there for a reason. And it was highly emotional, even though Gemini itself is not an totally emotional sign, but the moon, the way that it was aspected, was very, very emotional. So a lot of people were feeling it. So we're still feeling the energy of that. And as we move into this week, the one thing that I do want to talk about is on the 6th, Mercury, what we were just talking about, the planet that rules communication and our thinking, and also this energy of this full moon is now that it's retrograde, it's moving back. So the steps that it had just taken weeks before, it's now retracing those steps. So remember last week or a few days before that, Mercury was conjunct Saturn. Saturn is a planet of commitment. I was talking about this in last week's video. Basically what this does is it creates a serious mind. It wants you to take your ideas, take your words and your thoughts very, very seriously. It wants you to plan. It wants you to be prepared. It wants you to have a structured plan, I guess, even though I'm repeating that same word, for the future. You can have these grand ideas, and that's what Venus and Sun moving through the sign of Sagittarius will bring, is these grand ideas, this larger than life way of thinking about things, and that's great. But you can have this great plan, but if you don't bring it into, if you don't have a plan to build it, then it will never really take off. It will just be this idea that you never took action on. Saturn wants you to look at the future. It wants you to commit yourself. It wants you to create structure and the routine that will help you to get there. And if you neglect that, then it's like, well, you know, are you really serious about what it is that you want? You can have all the ideas. You could have all of the gifts that were given to you by God in the world, but if you don't act on it, then what is it? What was the reason for it? It was a wasted gift. It was a wasted idea. It was a wasted life. And that's what the universe doesn't want you to do. It doesn't want you to waste your life. It doesn't want you to waste ideas. It wants you to act upon them. Saturn notoriously wants you to be serious. It wants you to get serious. It's the planet that says, get with the program. And it's never too late to start on these ideas. It's never too late to think about the future. It's never too late to build something of substance and longevity. And Saturn wants you to bring those ideas, that thought, those words, that conversation, and cement it. Now, for some people, you'll look at it, you'll see this or you'll feel this, and you'll be like, oh my God, like this is such buzzkill. Like, I want to have fun, you know, I want to, travel, because Sagittarius energy with Sun and Venus and Sagittarius, Saturn and Sagittarius, it really does want to expand. It wants to explore. It wants to have the time of its life. But, you know, Saturn here says, look, with Mercury and Saturn meeting, what you want to do is you want to make sure that if you are having these plans, that you book that flight, you book that ticket. I said last week that for this week you would want to prepare, because Mercury's going to go retrograde, and for you to make that move, for you to begin to implement that plan. And when Mercury goes retrograde, if you have to make changes to your travel schedule, or if you have to make changes to your plan for higher education, or let's say for schooling, or whatever the case may be, or if you have to make changes to a project that is that you're working on, Mercury retrograde will present that. But last week was a time when you were designed to kind of set those seeds and build it even further. So if you need to, go back in the video prior and listen to that, because I did talk about Saturn and Mercury meeting last week. I did. So the other thing that I think it's really important, I don't want to make this video too long, I want to keep them under 20 minutes, is the fact that Mars, the planet that rules drive and motivation and ambition, is entering into the sign of Scorpio. Now, you thought that you were going to escape this Scorpio energy. Ha! That's hilarious, because I've been saying since October that, you know, this Scorpio energy, I was saying before October, because all the Venus was moving through Scorpio, Mercury is moving through Scorpio, the moon was moving through Scorpio, obviously. Mars is now moving through Scorpio. We're not going to escape the Scorpio energy. And I was saying, like, okay, even though the sun has moved out of the sign of Scorpio, the energy of Scorpio is still going to be lingering, so we're still dealing with that. What I love is the fact that for earth signs and water signs, you're still going to be vibing with this really, really well. But I feel like for fire signs and air signs, you're like, I need a break. This is too intense. This is because Scorpio is really intense, but it's still dealing with this energy of personal transformation and transition. And Mars actually loves the sign of Scorpio. Mars co-rules Scorpio. Pluto co-rules the sign of Scorpio. So when Mars moves through the sign of Scorpio, it's actually really comfortable. And basically what this does is it channels our energy and it ignites our passion, but funnels it so that we're just like intensely passionate and focused and getting to the nitty-gritty and the deeper detailing and the deeper meaning of certain stuff. And this lingering energy is something we've been dealing for the last 2 months. But now that Mars is one of the last planets to move through this, so for the next 3 weeks, we're still going to be dealing with this Scorpio energy. Mars rules our ambition and our drive and how we go to achieve things. So we just really like start digging in and diving in and becoming really serious. This is where we just put the pedal to the metal. And in a way that is intense, powerful, focused, specific, intimate. Did I say powerful already? I mean, we just kind of like zero in and lock in like a bulldog on a bone. It's just like just locked down on what it is that we're trying to achieve and accomplish. And that's anything. Let's say it'd be Christmas shopping. You're just locked in it. You want to do the best. You want to get the most meaningful gift. You want to do your research. You want to make an impact with career and with work. You want to make an impact with that, with relationships. Sex increases, believe it or not, and because Mars actually rules, you know, that energy of that element. And when Mars moves to the sign of Scorpio, it's just that energy gets really raw and passionate and aggressive in some ways. So you could see that manifesting itself. But either way, across the board, it looks to be good. On the 10th, on Sunday, Mercury retrograde then trines Uranus, the planet of unexpected surprises and developments. Sunday is a day where you can just brainstorm, be open to new ideas, be open to innovating, be open to meeting different perspectives, different people, trying things from different angles. Be open to getting a random text message. Be open to hearing unexpected news. These are things that you can see, especially with Mercury retrograde, bringing back this information, communication, and conversation that you've already had in the past. So don't be surprised if you hear some random news. Don't be surprised if you hear get an unexpected development that was connected to the past or just blows up out of, you know, just like uncovers itself. Again, Scorpio rules secrets and secrecy. Jupiter sitting in the sign of Scorpio is bringing those things, highlighting them up to the top. We talked about this in my As Jupiter Moves Through Scorpio video, which I'll post a link of that below. But also Mars moving through the sign of Scorpio helps to kind of like push and purge any type of information that may be lying dormant underneath the surface. Mars is going to be sitting directly, is moving from being directly opposite of Uranus, creating real strong tension and aggression. So I just want you guys to be mindful of what others are saying, be mindful of what it is that you're saying. Try not to get in fights, try to be realistic and try to see other people's perspective. You're dealing with people who may be really difficult right now. They may not be more open to hearing your side or your point of view. That it just is what it is. So at least you know what it is that you're dealing with. So maybe take a few steps back. You can't force anything to be open to you or to hear you or to respect you or to see you. With that, move wisely. With that, know yourself, know your worth, know your values, and move accordingly. All right? So I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for leaving your comments below. And I will see you in the next video. All right? Bye.